Thank you for watching this video. Who is Naomi Schiff? Naomi last name spelled Schiff. I recently read a tweet from the greatest Sir Lewis Hamilton where it says Lewis Hamilton defends Naomi Schiff after social media attack bullying on Twitter. After I profile briefly who Naomi Schiff is, I'm going to talk about what most of us do not remember about the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix. I know most of us know that Lewis Hamilton's first victory was at the Canadian Grand Prix in 2007. So I'll talk about something else that most of us do not remember. And I'll talk about what happened after the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix, which is obviously the US Grand Prix. So going back to my first question, who is Naomi Schiff? Naomi is a Belgian Ugandan. Dad is Belgian, mom is Ugandan. She was born May 18, 1994, from obviously a Belgian dad and a Ugandan mom. She is a former race car driver, competed pretty broadly, started at the age of 16. She grew up in South Africa, and obviously she now lives in the UK. We know now that she is one of the members of the Sky Sport F1. And Lewis Hamilton defended her by saying how valuable her experience as a former race car driver and also just the diversity she brings into the sport. Just what I want to add to it is I don't believe any other ladies in Sky Sport have had the experience of having been a former race car driver. Naomi, by the way, in 2014 was the winner of the Clio Cup, Asia Clio Cup, by scoring over 135 points to be exact. She also, I think, came second in the 2018 ADAC Zurich 24-hour Nürburgring. So she's accomplished, and I think she brings, like Louis says, a very valuable perspective. Female, diverse, and also I think she's in charge of what is the diversity and inclusion of she was nominated for that in the year 2022. That's the briefs of Naomi. So I think, like Louis said, again, she brings a very important role, and diversity is key to the sport of Formula One. We now know that it's being talked about. There's a meeting going on right now to have Kyalami, which is the South African Grand Prix, back on the agenda of 2023 Formula One lineup. Fingers crossed. We know Lewis is a big fan, and I'm sure Naomi would be very proud to see Kyalami back. The next thing I want to talk about is what most people don't remember about the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix. Most people remember that Lewis Hamilton certainly won his first Grand Prix at the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix. What most people do not remember is the most horrendous crash ever recorded in Formula One at the 2007 Canadian Grand Prix. We all know that my team has been BMW Williams and went to BMW Sauber. Robert Kubica hit the wall. Now, before I say that, we know that in Silverstone, the British Grand Prix in 2021, Max Verstappen slid over the gravel and impacted the wall or the barrier at 51G. And Christian Horner and Helmut made a big issue. We now know that it's required that if you have an impact with the wall at a certain G, you are required, even if you could do flips, to be checked out by a medical by a doctor. Max himself talked about how he actually witnessed the ending of the race and how he was so unhappy Lewis Hamilton was so cheerful on the podium, which is kind of funny. But I said all of it to remind everyone who's never had the chance, and I witnessed that race live. Robert Kubica, with all four wheels off the ground, hit the wall in a 2007 Formula One car, the BMW Sauber, that I actually have a sample of, at 71 Gs. Max hit it at 51 G. Robert Kubica hit it at 50% more Gs of a car that's that much. It was, I think, 17 years older than Max's car. And what happened? Robert Kubica had an injured pinky. His little toe really is the reason why he could not compete the following race. What happened the following race is something I witnessed because I have the program book of the 2007 US Grand Prix, in which, for the first time, Sebastian Vettel competed in Formula One. I think he qualified 7th and he finished 8th, at the time being the youngest ever Formula One driver to score points. So that was Vettel's first ever race in Formula One in the BMW Sauber. During those times, they had Formula One drivers, test drivers that would only drive on Fridays. Professional race car drivers would not drive on Fridays, and Vettel was often the fastest. And BMW Sauber F1 was my favorite car, and that's a fact. So I think those are points I wanted to share. The accident of 71 G from Robert Kubica makes Max's promenade of 51 G. It's true, no doubt about it. And the fact that Vettel replaced Kubica for that one race, and we also know that Lewis Hamilton won that race, by the way, and for that went to lead the championship that year, only to lose it by 1 point. But that said, those are two things that brings back memories. 71 G impact, all four-wheel off, hitting the wall right in the middle, and missing the one race, and Vettel having the chance to race his first ever Formula One race at the US Indianapolis Grand Prix. That was the profile of Naomi Schiff and memory lanes of the Canadian Grand Prix and also the US Grand Prix. Thank you for watching. I'm excited, looking forward to this year Canadian Grand Prix, crossing fingers that Lewis Hamilton feels good and that Mercedes does well. Thank you always for watching. May God bless you.